The brains and the creativity of one man lie behind all these characters and more. The Fantastic Four, the Hulk, Spider-Man, Thor, Doctor Strange, the X-Men, the Avengers, Daredevil, Nick Fury, the Silver Surfer. If you don't know them, then your kids do. And if your kids don't know them, then I wonder if they're really learning about the world as they ought to learn about it. Would you welcome, please, a superhero of the comic book business from Marvel Comics, Stan Lee. Okay, listen, I want to talk about some of the superheroes that you're working with now with Marvel Comics. Because when I was a kid, when you were a kid, it was Captain Marvel and Superman and Batman and Green Lantern and all those people were all perfect, right?
Well, they were perfect in the sense of the characters they were portraying, but we tried to bring comics a little more into the real world. You know, I shouldn't really say this, but the chances are that possibly even you and I aren't perfect.
Okay, there's Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow. Whoa, who's that new guy? Oh, that's me. I gotta go.
We tried to make our characters have feet of clay. Now, poor Spider-Man. I mean, okay, he's pretty good at catching bad guys, but he's apt to get an allergy attack while he's fighting. He worries about dandruff. He'll have an ingrown toenail, tears his costume. His Aunt May won't let him go out to save the world because he's not wearing his galoshes and it's snowing out.
It was the most amazing thing that's ever happened. So Mrs. Stark was like, hey, Underoos! And I just sort of flipped in, and I still kept S.H.I.E.L.D.
What do you think about Spider-Man caught on?
I think there were a lot of reasons. I think perhaps the main reason was the I can relate to him. Because he was shy, he wasn't that successful with girls, he had to worry about his family. I think most teenagers reading it thought to themselves, hey, that could be me, you know. So there certainly was that identification. Right. But beyond that, I must say truthfully, I think Steve and I came up with some great stories and some great villains.
Right.
You know, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, the Sandman, and everything worked. And visually, because the way Steve would have him crawling on walls and swinging on webs, it just, everything came together perfectly.
Oh, man! Wow!
You know, Spidey, I've always wanted to experience real web slinging.
And I've always wanted to be appreciated as a real hero. It seems you've made me into one. Thanks. Well, Stan, we all have to grow up sometime, I suppose. Even us characters of fiction.
I think maybe I'm proudest of the fact that I meet so many people who say to me, gee, Stan, I've been reading your things since I was very young. But so many people walk up and say, I just want to thank you for all the enjoyment you've brought. And that's made me think of something else. Years ago, when I was writing all these comics, I always felt I was really wasting time. I felt, okay, so I'm making a living, we're selling comics, but there are people building bridges and people doing medical research and people doing things that matter. And I'm writing these stupid little fantasy stories. And it's only been lately, the past 10 years or so, that I've started realizing to most people, and then I realized it applies to me too, to most people, the most important thing is being entertained, getting pleasure out of something. And I realized that maybe what I'm doing isn't really unimportant. Maybe entertainment is one of the most important things, because there are so many bad things in the world that if you can entertain somebody for a while, it's a good thing. So I think I'm proudest of the fact that maybe some of the things I've done have entertained people. Did you see my cameo?
Yes, I did.
Made the movie.
Of course.
Did it work? Are you Tony Stank? That is hilarious. I cannot tell you how much I love my fans. They sometimes at night I'm sitting here
and I'm thinking, what's it all about, you know? And then I get a letter from a fan, or I read something, or I see something, or I remember something, and I realize it's so lucky to have fans who really care about you. And that's the reason I care so much about the fans, because they make me feel so great. And there's something, if you think about it, that is wonderful about somebody caring about you as I care about them, whom you've never met, who may live in another part of the world, but they care, and you have something in common, and occasionally you contact each other. And this business of fans, I think, is terrific, and I love them all.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said. I'm happy that some people have enjoyed it.